So in 2018, Abby showed us all that if you put in the work, you can turn districts from red to blue. How about that? How do you feel about doing that for an entire state, for Joe and Kamala? Woo! Well, you know I feel that way. We turn Iowa blue. We can do it. So I'm so glad former Congressman Jim Leach can join us as well. Thank you, Congressman, for putting country over party. Thanks to all the great candidates who are here, local officials, leaders, and campaign volunteers, and all of you who made time on your day to come see us. I can't wait for Iowa to elect Joe Biden as the next president of the United States and Kamala D. Harris as the next vice president of the United States. It's such an honor to be part of this campaign. And one of the reasons it's so rewarding is my incredible partnership with the second best second spouse ever, my friend and our next First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden. But that's not my introduction. I can't wait for you to hear from her, but first, I want you to know how glad I am to be back here. As you know, I spent a lot of time here in 2019. I got to see some familiar faces. I see some familiar faces out there, and it just makes us feel so great. And Kamala sends her best regards. She says hi to everybody. I loved every minute of being here, and I've been making calls and doing Zooms all over the country, including Iowa, these past weeks. And I know when Joe asked Kamala to join him on this ticket, I knew I would have a chance to come back here in person and see you all to help turn Iowa blue. Now, you know, we've had to do some improvising on this campaign, but I can't say, I guess we'd end up in a drive-in. But the last time I was at one of these was just a couple of weeks ago with Joe and Jill and Kamala, and we were raising our hands to celebrate Joe and Kamala being our amazing ticket. So it's just great to be back again in front of a drive-through. So we're counting on you, Iowa. We're counting on you to help us win. And you know, early voting just starts in 9 days on October 5th. So you got to get out there, but more importantly, let everyone you know to get out there. It's very important. Because on Election Day, we want there to be no doubt at all that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have won a decisive mandate. A decisive mandate. A mandate that this current president cannot refute no matter how hard he tries. Now, just this past week, he had the nerve to refuse to commit to a peaceful transfer of power. That's not who we are as Americans. We're not going to stand for it. Now, for all of his bluster and chest beating, it's actually pretty simple. Trump has failed as most things as president, but he's really failed at his most important job. He's failed to protect the American people. And we all know that he's unable to do so. To begin with, he failed to take the virus seriously, and by his own recorded admission, he played it down even when he knew how deadly it was, all the way back in January. And he's still refusing to take responsibility. Joe and Kamala have a plan to get this virus under control, implementing clear national mandates for everyone to wear one of these, a mask. They save lives. A plan to make testing free, quick, and available, to make treatment free, bolster contact tracing, which is so important, and to make a safe and effective vaccine free as soon as it's available and safe, and ensure that it's fairly distributed. And instead of trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act and kick people off their insurance because they have pre-existing conditions like Trump is doing right now in court in the middle of a pandemic, which is outrageous, Joe and Kamala, like so many of you out there, believe that health care is a right, not a privilege for just the few. And And they have a plan to save the Affordable Care Act and build on it and improve it when you elect them. They will also bring our economy back from the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, which is also the direct result of Trump's failure to contain this virus. Now, how are they going to do it? They're going to create millions of jobs, making sure that work is rewarded, not just wealth, bringing manufacturing back to our country so the future is made in America by American workers. And while Trump is out there calling climate change a hoax, Joe and Kamala have a plan to address it as the urgent existential threat that we all know it is. As we've seen in my home state of California, which is facing historic wildfires, and you've seen right here in Iowa, and Jill and I got to see it ourselves with our very eyes, these historic floods and this unprecedented derecho. So as far as I'm concerned, as a lawyer, but more importantly, as an American who loves this country very deeply, the case against Donald Trump and Mike Pence is open and shut. And the case for Kamala and Joe is clear as day. And by the way, Kamala Harris is not just on the campaign trail. She remains in the Senate, where she'll be squarely in the fight to stop McConnell from jamming through a justice who will try to overturn the Affordable Care Act just when we need it most, and to protect your reproductive rights as well. This whole process is yet another reminder, as though we needed one, that this election couldn't be more important. Not just because the values we care about as a country are on the ballot, but because so many lives are at stake. We can see it right here. I remember a mother I met on the campaign trail with Jill, as a matter of fact. She's a passionate advocate for the Affordable Care Act, because she is terrified that without its protections for pre-existing conditions, she wouldn't be able to afford even 1 month of her son's life-saving treatment. I met a young mother whose father works at a meat packing facility with many undocumented workers and got involved in our campaign because of the unsafe conditions at that plant that are even worse in COVID. Met a retail worker, like so many others, who lost their job and won't be able to get it back in this economy. But he found his new calling as an organizer on our campaign. But the common refrain I hear from everybody is that they got involved in this campaign because of the 2016 election. And like me, and like you, they don't want to wake up on November 4th thinking they could have done more. And when Kamala Harris asks me, as she always does at the end of every day, "How was your day, Dougie?" I tell her about all the folks I talk to who are counting on us, because that's what motivates her. And I know that's what motivates Joe. It's the people. That's who Joe and Kamala are fighting for in this campaign. That's who they're going to fight for every single day when we send them to the White House. And it's your hard work over these next 38 days, that's all we have, folks, that will get us to victory on November 3rd. But we need you all to vote starting in just 9 days here in Iowa. And we need to make sure your friends and your families and your neighbors and your communities all cast their votes before the ballots close on November 3rd. Because if you turn out, it's going to turn out the way we want it to. And we're going to send Teresa Greenfield to the Senate. And we're going to win Iowa. And we're going to send Joe and Kamala to the White House.